Okay, good morning all. Let's start our discussion where we left yesterday. So today we are going to discuss about the continuing the concept of polymorphism only. Yesterday we had seen the method overloading, and today we are going to discuss about the yesterday we have seen method overloading and operator overloading. So now today we are going to discuss about method overriding. Okay, so we'll continue from there only. Before that, anyone having any kind of question, then feel free to shoot out your question. Fine. So Jupyter Notebook, let me start my Jupyter Notebook. So yes. Just hold on. Okay. Here is my Jupyter Notebook. Let me open your folder, my classes, MLD 24 December, and here is MLD 24 December. Yes, so here I can create new folder. Yeah, I'll rename this to method overriding. Okay, cool. So we'll create a new Python notebook here. Okay. So I just wanted to give a quick recap. What is method? What are the things? Why we are learning this method overloading or the things, right? So in order to achieve the runtime polymorphism, we are going to learn method overloading. Okay, overloading or overriding. And also yesterday only we have discussed one more thing. In case of Java and Python language, right? We have discussed these things. Constructor overloading and method overloading is not applicable in Python. It is only applicable in and the reason is what? It's a dynamic typecasting language. And we have clearly discussed these things, why it is not possible, right? So we have seen, let's suppose we have created a few function, same function with the, different function with the same name, but different argument, then methods are getting override always. Like let's suppose we have created a one class. Let me show you. So just a minute. So we have one class. Let's suppose we have one class test, and here is the def m1, and here is nothing but only self. Self is just a variable, reference variable, which refer to the current class object. And here I'm just passing print. This is without argument function. This is without argument function. Okay. Similarly, I'll copy the same function name, but the signature will be different. So let me copy paste this, and this time I will pass one argument called a, and this is with argument. I'm passing with argument function. Now let's suppose I want to, what happened? Okay, my bad, indentation problem. Okay, so if I will execute. Okay, so this is that class. Now let's suppose I have to call some function, this m1 function here. So how we can do that? Like we have to first create an object. So how we can create an object? Object is equal to test, and here nothing like obj. And if I am calling m1 function, ideally that first function should get called as compared to the other language. Like if I am going to compare the Java and C++, there is the problem. There is the very good solution. Like let's suppose you are creating the same function but a different argument. So at the runtime, Java compiler can decide which function has to be called, like m1 without argument wala function or m1 with argument wala function, right? So here the problem is here, like it is not able to understand which function need to be called, m1 without argument wala or with argument wala, right? This is the biggest problem because it's an interpreted language, and that's the only we have seen. Python having some capability as well and some limitations as well, some advantage and disadvantage as well. So and same thing happened for the constructor. But in case of Java, if you are calling the M1 without argument, by default Java compiler will get call this function, because it will see, okay, there is no argument, means it is a prospect is not asking for M1 with argument wala function. A prospect is asking for M1 without argument wala function. So it will get called. But in case of Python, it is not possible at all. So that part we have seen. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about method overriding. Okay, just give the quick recap. Now let's start the discussion. I make it a markdown. So now the thing is that we are going to discuss about method overriding. Okay. So what do you mean by the overriding? Overriding is basically is nothing but something we have and we want to change the value, right? We have one paper which is going to use for today teaching purpose. Tomorrow I will use for my business purpose. Okay. So then in that case, method overriding will come into the picture. Same function, we want to just change the definition. That is called method overriding. Signature will be same, but definition will be different. Okay. So whatever member available in the parent class are by default available to the child class. We have seen in case of inheritance, though through the inheritance. If the child class not satisfied with the parent class function, then they can change the things. Let's if I want to correlate with the real time use case, then I can say, like, let's suppose I have my parents and parent made one property, right? So when I took a stance on those property, what I did first, like I changed complete refurbish all the complete property and I customized by my own way, right? Because it seems like very old age kind of thing. So I made it, I changed it, I did it something and did the manipulation. Now it become on my way. So same thing method overriding as well. So method overriding is nothing but, let's suppose if I whatever I told, let me write down this here. So when whatever member available in the parent class are by default available for the child class, that's no doubt at all through the inheritance. And if the child class not satisfied with the parent class implementation, then child class is allowed to redefine that method in the child class based on its requirement. And this concept is called overriding. Okay, let me show you practically. Let's suppose we have one class which is called parent class, and class name always you can keep. Okay, let me write the parent. That's always class name should be camel case. It is not required, but as a good programming, you should follow this convention. So let me write the def property. So this is the my parent property. Okay. And here I'm going to write self is what? Self is the reference variable, which refer what? Which refer the current class object. Means this is that's a diagram. Just to observe the diagram. We are calling the servant, right? So self is the servant of this class, of this building. So he know where the properties, where the items are placed, right? So you can keep, instead of self, can I keep anything, any other name? Yes, you can give any name. It's not required you have to give always self. Okay, I gave the self. Okay, so now I'm going to write print. This is my parent property, huh? So I'm going to write my parent property. Parent के पास क्या क्या property है? Gold है, land है, land land, and cash. My parents having this kind of property plus power. Okay, these are the property my parents are holding. Now, what is the next property we have? Next property my parent have? Def marry. So whom my father married. So marry, here I'm going to give anything. First argument always will be a reference value. You can give self, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, anything you as per your wish. So my father got married with whom? With some name, like just giving the random name. So here is that. Now I'm going to create another class which is called child class, and this is my child class. And how I can say I am the child of my father? With my surname, right? With my name there is a Thakur. That's what people can understand. Okay, he's the son of like my father, right? So I have to put the surname. Okay, how I can say the surname? Okay, let me write here complete thing, child. So this is the surname. Okay, this is the surname. Now this child become this child is officially declared this is the child of this parent, current parent, that parent on top of it's written, right? So this become a child. Now here what I'm trying to write, def, I want to change this property of my parent class because I am going to marry someone else. Let's suppose I'm going to marry okay, def marry and here I'm going to write something called anything reference variable you can give, and here I want to change this signature, this definition of Mary, and here I'm going to write print xyz, just for example. Okay, I'm going to marry xyz. Now it's done. Now let's suppose how to call. Let's suppose if I am creating an object, if I'm creating an object of my parent class, if I'm going to create an object of my parent class, this is the creation of object. Now with this object, okay, I will write here p underscore object. P underscore object means parent object. Now here I'm going to write p underscore object is equal to property, is equal to property. It seems like property is a keyword, reserved word, right? So you cannot use this word, right? Okay. So how I understood this is the reserved word because the color, this red color was coming earlier. Okay. So now if I will call, okay, p dot object dot properties, and if I will call, which function got called? Parent class. Now let's suppose again if I'll calling p dot obj dot marry, if I'll call this function, which function will got called? My parent class. Now let's suppose I'm going to create my child class object. Okay, child object obj, and now if I will create a child class object with the child child, and here I'm going to create, and let's suppose, just try to understand, observe here, c underscore obj child class object dot properties, which function will get called? Parent class, because child class can be accessible, means parent class object can be accessible by the child class, right? That's always be there. But reverse can be possible. I can use my parent property without asking any permission. Okay, now in the modern age, if parent want to access my property, is it possible? No, it is not going to possible. It is possible explicitly, but by default it is not possible. This process is called as upcasting, downcasting. Okay, this is called upcasting, downcasting. Means, see, child is the downcast, right, of the parent, right? So child can use the parent property without any kind of hesitations, right? So if now let's suppose, just try to understand, if I'm going to use, if I want to use child, say Mary class, Mary function, which Mary will get called? Child class Mary function will get called, because I customize my property, like I customize the parent class property. Why? If the parent class object will function will get called, right? So that's here is the catch. Now the viewer coming on this picture, like, okay, child can access the parent property by default. Yes, child can access the parent property by default. This concept is known as upcasting. This concept is known as upcasting. Child, if child is using parent class property, means called upcasting. Now, what do you mean by downcasting? Downcasting means what? When the parent want to access the child class object, then this concept is called downcasting, right? Generally, it not happened, but it is not recommended as well, but it is possible explicit. Okay. So did you understood the method overriding? Method overriding, see, the same function we override in the child class. That is called method override. Okay, cool. Cool. So now let's suppose, so same thing. So there is a one more catch here. From the method overriding of the child class, we can call the parent class method also by using the, now we are going to discuss another keyword which is called super. Let me talk about the super keyword, code type markdown, and then I'm going to discuss about another keyword which is called super keyword. What do you mean by the super keyword? Okay, so super is a keyword. There is a catch. There is a catch. In case of Java, I always try to correlate other previous language with the Python, okay? Because I've worked on this kind of language so that I can make a difference here. Super is a keyword, but self is not a keyword. Self is the just a variable. So super, in case of Java, there is also a keyword which is called super, and here also is a keyword, super is a keyword. So what is the, what it does is this, both the places job is the same. Super keyword is going to use super keyword. Super keyword is used to call immediate parent class object. Okay, parent class object. Now can anyone help me what the self variable does? Self is a variable. Self is not a keyword. Same thing in Java, there is a this keyword, but here self is a variable. Okay, parent class object. Okay, so now tell me what the self does. Self is not a keyword. Correct, correct. So, but the super is referring to the immediate parent class. Okay, let me make you understand so that the things will get clear. So, what I'm trying to say here, let's suppose if I'm going to write class test and I am going to write here, let's suppose I want to write something, some function which is called, okay, let me write, let me do the copy paste this only, Control A, Control C, the things will be easy. Okay, now let's suppose just try to understand, huh? So here we calling this, let's suppose inside of cell child class we have something init function. Okay, def underscore underscore init, which is called constructor, and here I'm going to write self, and here I'm going to initialize self dot wife name, wife underscore name, and here I want to access, I can give the wife name called XYZ. Okay, I can give the wife name as called to XYZ. Now let's suppose inside of Mary I want to use my class wife name. How I can use my wife name here? Can anyone? Self dot wife name, self dot wife name, I will print it. But let's suppose I want to use my parent class ka wife name. How I can use the parent class wife name or object? So here print my father got married. My father got married with whom? With whom? With, here I can use app string, right? And I have to use this, right? So here I can use super keyword, super dot marry function, because marry function is my immediate parent class. Here you cannot use the self. Self is the current class object, reference variable of current class. Super is the reference variable of immediate parent class. Who is the immediate parent class? This is that immediate. It's not okay. What do you mean by the immediate parent, a non-immediate parent? My father, whose name is X, he is my immediate parent, but my grandfather is not my immediate parent, right? So always be a catch. Now let's suppose if I am executing these things, and now let me not create this object of parent class. Instead of creating a parent class object, I will create a C underscore obj, and here I'm going to create object of child class, here I'm going to do C underscore obj, and dot I'm going to call Mary. Okay, and now if I'll execute this, attribute error, super has not able to Mary. Mary is not there and double alpha. Okay, okay, my bad. Here it should be self. Oh, okay, got it. Can you see this with none? Okay, just a minute. Hold on. I create a child class object and then okay, just a minute. It is correct only. Why it is not working? Why it is showing none? Because it's not initialized. Hmm. Hold on, guys. Hold on, just a minute. We are done with this. Here I'm going to write and child class. I created a parent, and if I will create a C child object dot property, I should get property response. I should get property response. Yes, I am able to get. Now, if I will call C object dot marry, M-A-R-R-Y. I think why it is none. Print I am able to get, and then I am getting these things, and here is the catch. Here we should get this value, but okay, let me do one thing. Let me see without this it is working. Yes. Uh, we are getting something. Just a minute. So we are getting these things. Why this none is coming? That's the first question. Okay, so we are able to access. That's the first thing is that we are able to access the immediate parent class object. That is fine. But why this none is coming? That I have to check. I'll let you know. So here is the catch is just with the super keyword, super function, we can access current class, sorry, immediate parent class object. That is the thing. So now here is the catch, like how we can from the overriding method of the child class, we can call the parent class method also by using the super method that we have seen here, right? So now I will talk about this why this none is coming. I think super is not getting initialized here somewhere because this super is not a keyword, super is the method, right? So we have to initialize here. So now can we access, now the question is, what do you mean by the method overriding? That's the first thing, right? So we understood the method overriding. Method overriding means like what? One parent class we have, and in that parent class we have many functions are there, and if some child is there, immediate child is there, and if he want to change the definition of function, signature will be same, the definition of that function want to change, they can change by using method overriding. So very popular interview question. When the method over, what is the difference between the method overriding and method overloading? Method overloading is going to use to achieve the runtime polymorphism. Method overriding is going to use the achieve the inheritance concept. So here is the catch. What is the difference between the method overloading and method overriding? Method overriding is going to use to achieve the runtime, sorry, inheritance, and method overloading is used for run to achieve the polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. So did you guys understood? Now we are going to discuss about another thing which is called constructor overriding. Is it possible constructor overriding in case of Python? Constructor overriding, is it possible? Let's see. We have one class which is called parent, and here I'm going to not going to use anything, and here is the def underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and here I'm going to use the self is the reference variable which refer to the current class, and here I'm going to use print parent class constructor, parent class constructor, constructor, parent class constructor. Similarly, we have one child class, child. We have child class, and how this child can say I am the child of my parent, right? So here we have to put a surname, right? So what is the surname? Parent is the surname. How I can say I am the child of my father? With the surname, people can understand, right? So similarly here as well, def underscore underscore init, and here I'm going to write self, and here I'm going to write print. This is the child class constructor. Okay, any question? No question? Cool. Now let me show you. Let's create an object of c underscore child, object of child class. Okay, child class, and here I'm going to create. Okay, let me run this. Now which constructor got called? Child class constructor got called. Does parent class constructor got called? No, parent class constructor will not call. Okay, so here is the that in this example what we have seen, if child does not contain the constructor, that then the parent class constructor will be executed. So for the child class constructor, we can call the parent class constructor as well. Can we call, let's suppose this is my parent class constructor, right? So can we call the parent class constructor here? Answer is yes, you can call the parent class constructor. There is a no if and else. So what I'm trying, how we can call the parent class constructor? Let's suppose we have one class. So we understood, like, okay, if we are creating the object of child class, the child class constructor will get called. Now question is, if I want to use call the parent class constructor, how we can call? Simple. Answer is simple. Super function, super method. Yes, super method is used for call the any kind of things which you want to do the with the immediate parent class inside of child class. Then use that super keyword, super function. Okay. So again, I used to be confused with this keyword and method because see, in I worked in both the languages like C, C++, Java, and Python. Right. The things is quite same, but the thing concept is different, right? There super is a keyword, here super is a method. Okay, there is a this is a keyword, here self is a variable, right? So if you are going to learn a multiple language, the things always be like this. So always be clear, like super is here the method which is going, and the things is doing the same job here, right? Super, there super keyword is doing the same job to call the immediate parent class things. Here the super method is going to use the same thing, right? So concept is same. Now let me create a, okay, now the question is how to call the parent class constructor by using the super method. So what I'm trying to show here, so I will show you here. Any question so far? I'm asking again. Any question which I'm missing, and do let me know. I'll try to answer those things. So let's suppose we have one person class, and here I'm going to initialize one my variable which within the constructor, which is called instance variable. Okay, I'm always trying to take a jargon word so the things will get clear. Instance variable are those variable which is defined inside of constructor and which value is getting initialized while creating the object, that is called instance variable. Instance variable, the name itself is saying the instance when the object is created. Variable get initialized when the instance of the object will get created. That's what it is called as instance variable. Does it make sense? Okay. So now self, comma name, and comma age. And here I'm going to write something. I'm going to initialize self dot name is equal to name. And here I'm going to write self dot age equal to age, and we initialize this. That's okay. Now I'm going to create another class which is called employee. I'm going to create employee class, and here how I can say this employee is the child of the person class. So surname, always put a surname. So surname ke baad we can say like, okay, this employee is the child of this person class. Okay. Now I'm going to initialize some variable which is called constructor. Okay, which is called constructor, and here I'm going to initialize something def underscore underscore init underscore underscore init. Okay, to get a suggestion, many people ask how you are getting the suggestion here. So after writing some few character of your any kind of variable, press tab symbol, tab button, you will get a suggestion. But in case of PyCharm or Visual Studio Code, you will get this suggestion automatically while typing the code, right? So here is the case. So here self, I'm going to write self comma name comma age comma, what are the different property will be? The different property will be here employee number, because it's an employee, right? And here is the e-salary, right? Because this is the person, this is the parent class, no worries. Okay, sorry, person class, because this person, obviously this employee will come under the person class, right? So person ka few thing will be common, name and age to kisi bhi employee ke honge. Every employee will have the name and age attribute, but employee number and employee salary will get change employee to employee, yes or no? Yes. Okay. So that's what we added a additional attribute. Now the question is, age and name will get initialized by which class? Person class, right? So I'm going to use the super keyword, super function. My bad. I'm taking always keyword, but it's not a keyword. It's a method. So I want to initialize my parent class constructor here, and with the name and age. Okay, with the name comma age. Okay, I initialize. See, So which constructor got initialized with this? This person class constructor got initialized. Okay, cool. That makes sense it to me. Now I want to initialize my employee number with employee number. That's okay. That's okay. Now similarly, I want to initialize myself dot e salary with e-salary. Okay, cool. So we initialize this thing. Now let me create one more function which is called df display function. Okay, display function. And here I want to just display everything. Okay, so here print employee name. I'll use the app string here, employee employee name, and here I'm going to use self dot employee name. Okay, so see, I have not initialized the name and age here in this child class. It got automatically initialized by the person class because I just initialized the constructor here of my parent class with the super. I didn't call the person class here explicitly, right? So here I'm going to call. Just try to understand, huh? Just try to understand. Here I'm going to write employee name, so self dot name. Similarly, employee name is done. Now print employee age. I'll use the app string. Employee age is equal to what? Self dot age. Similarly, print employee number, app string I can use. Employee number is what? I can use self dot e number, employee number, right? And similarly, if I want to get the print salary, employee salary, employee salary is equal to self dot esal employee salary. So things are done. Now let me show you, let me execute this. Now let me create an object of my child class. Okay, object of my child class, object of employee class, emp. Okay, emp1. Let's suppose I want to create a object of employee one class. Okay, so here what I can do, I can call employee class, create a constructor of this employee. Here we have to pass the few things. I am passing rajesh and comma employee age 28, and I'm going to pass e number is 1001 and the age. Okay, then salary I'm going to pass 1000. Okay, now let me show you, let me execute this, and now I will call with this object of employee one display function. Okay, so if I will call this display function, what happened? Object has made it. Sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, can you see this? I am getting this employee name, employee age, employee number, and employee salary. Now, what I will do, I will, okay, that's a beauty of writing the initializing the instance variable. This always create a copy of different object. Okay, so here instead of Rajesh, I'm going to write something Rohan. Okay, and here I'm going to write something called 25 years. Okay, and now here employee ID will be 1002. Here salary will be 1 lakh. Just try to understand. And now it will display. Still it's showing. Okay. My bad. Because I'm calling the display function with the older object. So you can call with the display function with the employee too. Did you guys understand the beauty of writing? See, I have not write the code again and again for the different employee. I just created an object of this employee class and I call the display and things got changed. That's the beauty of creating the instance variable, the class and object. Code repetition will not be there. Okay, you can use the reusability of the code. Okay, now we understood. Okay, so now did you guys understood the beauty of the super? Can we achieve the same thing without super? Yes, we can achieve the same thing without super as well. Why not? Who said no? So you can use. So instead of super, why cannot create an object of this class obj? I'm going to create an object of my person class. Let me see. and here I will pass the name comma age. Okay, I'll pass and I will remove this super. I will remove this super. Now just try to understand. Okay, we'll create an object. Here we have to use these things, self dot object. So here we have to use the self dot object, and now I can use self dot object, and here I should use self dot object. Let me see, object dot name and self dot object obj dot age. Let me see whether I am able to achieve or not. Command A, command C, command V. Yes, we are able to do without super as well. So super is doing the same thing what I did here. Like I created a parent class object and super was doing also same thing. So instead of creating calling with the super, I use the conventional way of creating the object. Can you see this? Like this, we are doing the creating the constructor, right? Why cannot create a constructor, initialize the constructor here, create an object inside of init? Same thing we were doing with the super only, right? But it's a good way of practice of programming. That's the beauty of using this thing. Did you guys understand any question? Cool, cool. So we understood method overriding as well. Okay, we understood method overloading as well. Okay, cool. Now, okay. Now what is the next is that, let me see. Topic will be, okay, now we are going to start the project. I think it's good for to go. We can start with one concept will be the databases. Okay, we'll be discussing on databases part because that part is pending. And once you will get to know about the databases, then we can understand more about Python project. Okay, I think we are good for the Python level. Now we can start with the databases. Okay, let me show you, share my screen. Okay, so, okay, Python portion has been completed, guys. Now we can start the project, Python project. Okay, we'll pick the Python project one by one. Python project we will pick, and then we will accomplish, we will deploy end to end, and then we will see the end goal. But before that, we have one thing which is called databases. Okay, so what is database? First try to understand databases. Okay, so databases is, okay, let's suppose I want to, let's suppose today we started a conversation. Okay, okay, you said good morning Rajesh, how are you doing? Good morning XYZ, how are you doing? I'm doing good, how about you? So you started this conversation. So now you ask me, hey Rajesh, do you know, like yesterday you forgot to speak about this topic. Can you recall me about this? Now I don't know what we talk about yesterday, right? I have to recall, right, something I know. What was the discussion yesterday, so that I can start my conversation from there where we left, right? So what I did, I went to previous class material. I saw what we learned yesterday, and then I started from there. Yes or no? Yes, yes. So same thing is called databases. So inside of databases, what we are going to do, see, database, if you are trying to correlate the database, it's a something like an Excel sheet. Okay. So inside of Excel also you can maintain all those things, but database, why we are going to use, there is a multiple reason, we'll talk about those things. Okay, we'll talk about all those part, but before that, just try to understand database is just to store the conversation what is going on between you and me, between you and me, and as well as if you all talk about in the production, if in production millions of customers are there, right? Just think about the globally, right? And every customer having the different ask, right? So today they start asking something, After 1 week, they will start asking something. We have to know what the conversation is going on between the different customer zone, right? So for that databases we are going to use. So now coming to the database part, what are different type of databases we have? Number one, we have SQL database, which is called structured query language. And inside of SQL, you can see there is a different thing, which is called MySQL, Oracle, Oracle SQL. Okay. And I think, yeah, and yeah, Postgres, exactly. Postgres. Okay, Postgres is also a SQL kind of database. We'll talk about all those things. And what is the MySQL, Oracle, Postgres? Do you need to learn everything? No, you no need to learn anything. These are the vendors. Vendors means these are the provider, which service provider, which provide the MySQL service. Okay, you no need to learn all the things. MySQL, especially learn MySQL, especially learn Oracle, Postgres. No, the concepts are same. Concepts are same, but the vendors are different, right? Let's suppose same thing. If you want to correlate this thing with the current situation, let's suppose today you are learning Python with me, right? Tomorrow or after 1 week or after 1 month or after a year, you will go to learn Python with someone else. They will also deliver the same thing what I am delivering, but the vendor will be different. Today I am teaching you, tomorrow somebody else will be teach you the same thing. MySQL, Oracle, and Postgres, these are the vendor these are the SQL provider vendors. Okay, they provide the SQL server. Obviously there is some pros and cons are there, always will be there, but the things will be same. Query writing, the query will be same, concept will be same, all the things will be same, but provider will be different. That's the only thing is there. Now similarly, this is called SQL. And also see, does this support all the languages? Yes, it support all the languages. All the vendors support all the languages. Let's suppose we want to connect MySQL server with Python, then we can connect. If you want to connect with the Java, we can connect. Okay, so that's what. If so, let's suppose we have to. This is called SQL server. Let's suppose I am going to make a cluster which is called SQL server. Okay, and let's suppose we have a client. Client is called programmer. Okay, this is the Python programmer. Okay, Python programmer. Okay, this is the Python programmer. Here is the Java program, because this vendor are not providing some service only for the specific developer. This is for the globally. This is the Java developer. Just try to understand. Okay, so Java developer. Now, how this developer can connect these services? Yes, we need a driver, right? Okay, let's suppose I have to reach to your place. How I can go? Either I can do the self-driving, or I can call some driver and they can pick me and they can drop to your place, right? Similarly, we need to connect. If you want to connect with this server, SQL servers, Oracle servers, Postgres server, we need a something called driver. Okay, a driver which we are going to use to connect between which is going to establish a connection between the SQL server with the client. Client is what? Python developer, Java developer. That's all. Okay, now we understood. And who is this driver? Similarly, for the Java programmer, we need a driver. Okay, so all the client having the different driver. Let's suppose I am a very fat guy. I want truck kind of driver, right? Truck person who can carry me. But I am a slim. Then I can go with the two-wheeler. I can go with the four-wheeler as well, right? So same thing. If it's a Python developer, driver will be different. If the Java developer, driver will be different. So in case of Python developer, as we are discussing, and it's not about the only Java and Python, it's about all the language. Either you are learning Ruby, Rust, a C Sharp, C++, every language is having their own driver. Okay, it is available in the market. Now, which driver has to be used to connect between, make a connection between the developer and SQL server, that you can check in the Google. Okay, but as of now, as far I know, in case of hold on, in case of Python developer, the driver name is something called PyMongo. Oh, you are going to use the SQL, right? Not PyMongo. Where is eraser? So in case of SQL, we have SQL Alchemy. SQL Alchemy. So this is the driver. Similarly, in case of Java developer, we have JDBC, I think. Okay, JDBC. You can check it out. These are the different drivers are there which is going to use to establish a connection between these things. Same thing we discuss about the SQL. Okay, we discuss a lot about the SQL, right? Now the concept is coming. What is SQL? SQL is basically structured query language. Means when you want, when you know what will be the shape of your data and structure of the data model you have. Okay, we will get a data integer type. We will get a tabular kind of data. Okay, if you know in production, I always will get 5 rows, 5 column. Means like name will be there, age will be there. Just hold on, my handwriting is very good. Salary and location or something like, let's suppose these only 4 field will come. Then always select SQL. Always when you are going to deal with the structured database, then always select the SQL database, structured database. Okay, now coming to the NoSQL part. NoSQL, again, in NoSQL, again variety of vendors are there. Number one, MongoDB. Number two, Cassandra, and number three, DynamoDB. Okay, DynamoDB. Yes, we have Neo4j as well, but no one is going to use the Neo4j DB. Okay, Neo4j also is the NoSQL kind of database, but Neo4j is going to use for the something different purpose. It is, I will talk about these things if you guys will be interested for the NLP concept. Neo4j is something which we are not going to use in the production. Neo4j is designed for some specific purpose. Okay, but apart from these 3 vendors, MongoDB, Cassandra, DynamoDB, these are the service, these are the NoSQL database. Now let's talk about NoSQL database. What do you mean by the NoSQL database? NoSQL is basically stand for not about the NoSQL, no SQL. It is about not only SQL. Means we have SQL service will be there, as well as without SQL also. Means apart from the SQL, there is a multiple services also there. Means what I'm trying to say here, in production, you know 4 field will come, and you know the data type as well, what type of data will come. But what will happen now, if you'll see in Facebook, Instagram, and any kind of social site, right, social networking site, there the data is getting generated very frequently, and also the data type is something different. Like it can, no one can expect what the user can pass. You can pass the video as well, you can pass the audio as well, you can pass the image as well, you can pass the text as well, and you can pass the emojis as well, right? So we don't know in production what kind of data is coming. In that situation, always recommend select NoSQL. Okay, NoSQL will exhaust any kind of data. Okay, will eat any kind of data and any format of the data. This is the catch between the SQL and NoSQL, right? It is kind of unstructured data you can store, and nowadays everyone is dealing with the images, videos, text data, right? So always recommend go with the NoSQL. But yeah, if you are going to use the e-commerce website, developing e-commerce website like Flipkart, Amazon, this kind of website is still using the SQL. Now the benefit of SQL and NoSQL, let me write down the benefit of SQL and NoSQL. Okay, so as obviously it is dealing with the structured data, so it is fast as compared to the NoSQL. It is faster than NoSQL. That's so always be catch. It is faster. Now coming to the throughput. Throughput, what do you mean by that? Throughput of SQL is very high. Obviously, SQL service is very good, but again, our requirement will not match. Then what will use? What will be the use of taking this fast and throughput? What do you mean by the throughput? Can anyone help me to understand what do you mean by the throughput? Throughput, let me explain about the throughput. Throughput is something, I will talk about this thing, throughput. So let's suppose I have my home, I have my flat. In my flat, one door is there. And with that door, let's suppose with that door, at a time, only 2 to 3 members can enter in my room. That's the only thing is there. But let's suppose 1,000 members came into the picture. How the 1,000 member can enter in my home, right? So in that, this is called throughput, means how many data can be inserted at a time. Okay, that is called throughputs. Okay, so in case of SQL, throughputs is very high as compared to the NoSQL. Okay, so in SQL, throughputs is very high. Apart from this, it deal with the structured data. NoSQL deal with the NoSQL data. Any question, guys? Any kind of question which you think like need to be addressed and which I messed it out? No? Okay, cool. Cool. So this, and let's talk about the driver again. So let me talk about, just hold on. Okay, let me talk about few more things. Where is my pen? So let's suppose NoSQL, MongoDB, Cassandra, DynamoDB, and this DynamoDB is the vendor of DynamoDB is AWS. Okay, DynamoDB and Neo4j. Okay, leave this Neo4j. This is again can be connect by the Java developer and Python developer. Yes, it can be. Anyone can connect. This is the vendors, right? So let's suppose Python developer is there. You guys are going to become a Python developer, right? So let's talk about the Python developer. Similarly, for the Java developer, they can deal with that. So again, we need here also driver to connect, establish a connection, driver. So who will be the driver? So it depends which kind of vendor you are selecting. Okay. So someone is selecting the MongoDB and the client is Python. Then the driver will be PyMongo or Mongo engine, anything, Mongo engine. Okay. Similarly, for the Cassandra and DynamoDB. For DynamoDB, we have vendor driver which is called Boto3. Okay. Boto3. This is the driver. Actually, Boto3 is the library, Python library, and which is going to use to perform the multiple action. But I'm not talking about those things. But Boto3 is the huge library which is going to use for making the connection between the DynamoDB and the Python as well. Boto3 is used for the S3 bucket connection as well. Boto3 is used for the EC2 connection as well. But I'm not talking about those things. I'm stick toward the databases. Okay. So Boto3 is kind of library which we are going to make establish a connection between the DynamoDB and Python. And DynamoDB is what? DynamoDB is the service provided by the AWS. Okay. It's a NoSQL service. Okay. And Cassandra is the open source. So, and MongoDB is not an open source. But Cassandra is an open source. Okay. So Cassandra is again, it depend. Again, it's throughput. Already we know for NoSQL throughput is very less, but Cassandra is lesser than less. Okay. So no one is going to use the Cassandra, but it's a huge thing. Like at the free of source, you are getting all the sources and resources at all. So always select the means like if you are going to use some kind of exploration purpose and doing some POCs, don't recommend. I not recommend to go with the DynamoDB or MongoDB. Go select a Cassandra, but in industry, no one is going to use the Cassandra just because of security reason. Okay, because MongoDB and DynamoDB, it's provided by MongoDB is the service by Atlassian. Okay, so Atlassian so always they are putting lot of securities and user level. Let's suppose I want to give you a kind of only read access, then I can give it to you. This kind of facility they have. Okay, let's suppose I want to give read access or write access for only specific cluster or any specific collection, that also I can give it to you. But these facilities are not there in case of Cassandra. Okay, if it is there, then I don't know, to be honest. I have never used these things. I use just to teaching purpose, but not more than that. But for the MongoDB and DynamoDB, it's my day-to-day job. I used to use this thing very frequently, so I know they maintain this kind of admin panel in a well-structured way. Okay, any question? So we'll start these things from the scratch by tomorrow. We'll start a connection, writing the code, establishing the connection, all the sort of things we will see by tomorrow. Okay, and okay, and then once it will get done as MongoDB and Cassandra DynamoDB, tomorrow we'll see the okay, we have some time. We will see the installation part at least, so that tomorrow we can start from there only. Okay. Let me show you. Okay, so everyone, please install Mongo Compass in your system. Mongo Compass. This is the Mongo Compass, www.mongodb.com, and download now. Just click on this download, and it will automatically select your window, whatever, if you are using Mac or Linux or any kind of operating system, it will select. But if it is not getting detected, you can select from there, this drop down. Okay, and then if you want to go with the zip, select a zip and download it. Okay, please download this. I will share this link to chat. I will do share this link over the chat. So please do download and install it. Installation process. Okay, so here also Microsoft. I think you should download this MSI, not zip folder. Okay, please do not download, or exe. That is also fine. Either exe or MSI. Don't download the zip one. Download the exe. That should be fine. Okay, please download this exe and click on next, 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 and finish. In Windows, it is quite simple. But for Linux user, anyone is using the Linux here? Linux or Mac? No? Cool. So please download and install the exe, then it will be more than sufficient. And tomorrow we'll see start. Let's complete the installation by tomorrow. Okay. And then we can start doing these things, establishing the connections and all those things. Python client we'll see by tomorrow, and we'll start all the things. And then we will start pick a project, e-commerce website and e-commerce project, and we'll start developing these things. 1 week we'll go to establish a project and doing all the sort of things, and then we can get it done. Okay, cool. Then any question? No question? Okay. Yes, so once this Python project will get done, we will start the ML concept, so don't worry. Okay, it's on my duty. I am also, if I will start doing the hurry, your class will get done within 1 month. So I'm not in that mood. Yeah. With coding, everything is the practical implementations here. Okay, so without coding there is nothing. So that's what we are taking 6 months, right? Okay. Everything will be code. First theory class, then code. How we did database theory class, right? Tomorrow we will see the coding part. Start coding everything. Then once it get done, we will start pick the project. We will implement everything, whatever things we learned so far, so forth. We will implement in that project. We'll deliver into the production, and then we will start ML concept. Does make sense? Okay. Cool. I will share the recording and class materials within 2-3 hours, and then we'll done. And Vishal, do you have any question? Okay, cool. Cool. How was the session? Like, did you understood what are the things we learned? And tomorrow we have a class at 8 a.m. So we'll get a, yeah. So tomorrow we'll start a database, establishing the connection and the project as well, where what you were looking for. So I think it will be good time to start and pick the things. Okay. Cool. And I will add you in one document. Can you give me your mail ID in this thread or uh, sure. I will do share today's class recording, everything by within a 2-3 hours. Okay? And the class material. You will get, okay, let me share that part as well, where you will get. There is one master sheet we have. If you can go to this document, we have this master. Is it my screen is visible, right? Yes. So there is a master sheet. Inside of master sheet, everyday class, what the topic we learned, what are the, where is the source of all the course content, and what is the link of video watching. You will get it out here. Let's suppose tomorrow video you want to see. So you can go here, you can see the classes. Can you see this? All the class recordings, everything will be there. Okay, so it is one stop solution, one thing, one place you reach and you will get to know everything. And yesterday, okay, yesterday class note you want, you can click here, you can go there and you can see yesterday we learned this much. Okay, okay, what about the assignment, guys? I have not received any assignment. Where we are? Okay, no worries. Do complete your assignment. It's your duty. If you will not complete, your loss. Okay, cool. So understood, Vishal, right? The way of teaching our, like, you got the picture, right? So everything will be there. Okay, fine. So I think you shared the mail ID. I will add you this thread. Okay, thank you. So tomorrow we have a class 8 to 9, 8 to 9:30. Cool, cool. Thank you all.